Hi everyone, welcome to episode 3 of the Builder's Log. Now this week we've got a few updates for you. We've got some work on Tectonic and Slingshot and a couple of news items to talk about as well. So let's get started. Now a couple of weeks ago our friends over at Extreme Robots and Reactivate gave away a little sneak peek of our plans for this year regarding Aftershock. If you haven't seen that video, here it is now. So it became clear that Aftershock is going to be changing, and after last year we decided that it was time for a bit of an evolution. We had a bit of a rough time last year. Aftershock had 8 fights against Zadkiel, and if you haven't seen Zadkiel before, it is a pretty ridiculously powerful horizontal spinner from Craig Collias of Team Saint. Brilliant machine, but it hits Aftershock in all the wrong places and caused us a lot of damage and gave us a lot of repairs to do throughout the year. And we decided that for 2023, this isn't something we could keep doing, so we decided to go for something a little bit different. And we were at Cheltenham having a bit of a chat during the show, and we came up with a bit of an idea. So gone for this year is the spinner version. Well, I say gone, semi-retired. We may bring it out for the odd appearance, but it won't be running at every show. So the spinner is going to be going into semi-retirement, and to replace it, well, here's a little clue. First bit's arrived. You might be able to tell that this is a bit of Hardox, so it's 10mm thick, it's about 250mm long, and judging by the shape, this is perfect for what we're going to be replacing that spinner with. So yes, it is going to be an axe. It's had the working title Aftershock. That's been our sort of project name while we've been working on it. We're going to reveal the actual name later on in the year. We haven't quite decided what that's going to be yet, but we are going to be working on that. So Project Aftershock, as it's become, is going to be based on the Series 9 chassis. So it's the old original Aftershock. We've already got a spare lem, so we're going to be using the same weapon motor. So the same thing that powers our disc, we're going to use our spare one now on the axe. So it's going to be the same kind of weapon power being used in a slightly different way. We've got most of it worked out. We think it's going to look pretty amazing. And if you want to see what it properly looks like, then if I've done my job properly, there should be a little picture of it appearing up here now. And you can see what it's going to look like. So it's still going to look fundamentally like the Series 9 Aftershock, but with an axe through the middle of it. We're going to do some testing to see how it goes. Again, we'll have those test videos exclusively on our Team Shock Builders Log. So keep your eyes peeled over the next couple of weeks, as we will be sharing some updates. We don't know if we're going to need to do anything else to the chassis. We might need to do something like have a tail out the back to stop it jumping up in the air. And you'll probably notice there's a few other sort of smaller changes. The wedgelets on the front to try and keep it a little bit close to the ground, because I know that's something Aftershock has tended to struggle with over the years. So it should be quite an exciting little project. Also, we've been thinking about the other sort of content that we're going to be bringing to this channel and this sort of series throughout the year. And I've decided one of the things we're going to do is do a little build diary of a robot. To get that started, we're going to try it with a beetle weight. I'm not going to give too much away because I have got an idea in mind. I have got one part that I'm going to show you now. That's going to be the only hint. There we go, get a close-up look at that one. So that's going to be making its way onto a beetle weight that we're going to be building. We're going to document the whole thing on this channel. We might do it over one video, maybe a couple. Haven't decided that bit yet. But that's the only sneak peek you're going to be getting so far. So let's get on with the rest of our news for this week. So we'll show you what we've been up to with Tectonic and Slingshot. Here we go. So what I'm going to do now is show you Tectonic, because I've been able to get it out. Now I've cleared out all the space in the shed. It hasn't actually been touched since the last outing it had, which was Extreme Robots at Cheltenham back last November. In fact, I've been a little bit bad. I've just sort of dumped it in here underneath the shelves and it hasn't been touched, not even had the batteries taken out of it since the last event. So I'm going to do that today, get them onto a storage charge, but before I do that I'm going to do a little power up check just to make sure that everything is working as planned. So in terms of the power up check, I'm going to do a little electronics test first. So I've got the transmitter and the safety link there as well, just an XT90 safety link on this one, and then that plugs in through the access panel at the back. Also got the power LEDs, which is a necessary part of under the FRA rules. So first of all, I'm just going to check that we've got the weapon, so we should hear the solenoid click. There we go, and I can also see we've got the little light down there. So we've got 2 valves in Tectonic, 1 fires and 1 vent, so you can hear the firing valve there, and if I release, we've got the venting valve on too, which is great. We should then get some drive. That all looks good, so both wheels seem to be turning, no major noises, apart from just the normal chain noise, so I'm pretty happy with that. Let's have a little look though and see if the pneumatics are okay. I'm going to put a little bit of gas in the system. Remember, Tectonic is only a low pressure flipper, so runs at a maximum of about 16 bar, and I'm only going to put less than that in, just enough to see if everything is working. Still some gas in the bottle as well, which is pretty good. Right, I'm now going to get back out the way, and let's see if the flipper's working too. I would say that it is. Now, the ram won't normally return. It needs the weight of the flipper arm and the bungees to do that. But I can see from that everything is working. So let's make it safe. And to do that, first of all, I'm going to turn off the gas bottle. I'm then going to vent any of the remaining gas. And then I'm going to pull the safety link. And that means the robot is all safe and ready for me to work on. So while I've got Tectonic here, I thought I'll show you a little bit about what's inside it. So first thing we see straight away, we've got the buffer tank at the front. So this is a normal 2 kilo CO2 fire extinguisher. It's had some fittings attached to it that plumb it into the pneumatic system, and we've got like the main inlet there. Down under here, we've got the regulator. So that's what lowers the CO2 pressure to run it on the sort of 16 bar that we tend to run it on. We've then got the Robotech speed controller hidden away behind the polycarbonate panel. Interesting fact, this piece of polycarbonate came from the Robot Wars arena. We found a load of bits of spare stuff when they were sort of putting it in the skip when they were filming Series 8. So we came away with a lot of that. The Robotech is mounted onto the ram. So the ram has a steel plate on top, and then it's got the tie rods that bolt it right the way through to the base. Other electronics live under there, so that's where our receiver and the weapon switch lives. The drive on this one is really, really simple. So we've got a single stage chain that goes between the motor and the wheel, and these are just sort of the blue caster wheels that quite a few teams use. We use the same ones on Aftershock and Manta as well. The gas bottle mounts in here. Now, one of the big issues we've had throughout last year with Tectonic's gas bottle was that it was trying to slide side to side, and it was damaging the handle on the end. So what we did for the last event of the year, we made this whole new bracket that bolts in the clamps the neck of the bottle, and that did a great job at stopping that moving. And underneath the gas bottle are where the batteries live. So we've got a big battery bay at the bottom. We can run all different configurations of battery packs in there. We've got like one massive pack, but we can run up to 4 packs in there if we've got to do a lot of running. And they're kept nice and secure by the gas bottle above them. And then if we go underneath the Robotech, a bit tricky to see, but you can just about see like the brass coloured valve that we've got there. So we've got a big valve, a 3/4 inch one to fire, and then hidden away under here, we've got a little 1/2 inch Burkett style valve that does the venting of the ram to release all the gas after we've used it. And that's pretty much it. It's a very basic little machine inside, really. Nice tough chassis though. So this was made by our sponsors, MZ Limited. So it's all 6mm Hardox for the sides and the flipper. The base is 3mm, and you can see some really lovely fabrication work. All of this was folded from Hardox, and they really did a fantastic job. So that's Tectonic as it stands now. Going forward, there's not a huge amount that we need to do to it. We're going to get some new motor mount tensioners because occasionally our chains go a little bit slack and jump off. And that is pretty much it. We'll probably give it a bit of a repaint as well because the paint's a bit scratched up, and we quite fancy going back to the blue paint job that it had sort of halfway through last year. So I think we will probably be doing that. Otherwise, Tectonic's been working really well, and what you see here is kind of what you get. It should be just a bit tidied up by the time you see it next time. So that was a little look at Tectonic. The other robot we've been doing a little bit of work on this week is our featherweight flipper slingshot. So as you might remember, this is one that we've bought from Glenn Rose of Demon Designs. So this come all the way from Australia. We've been doing a little bit of work on it, getting it ready, as we're hoping to enter this in a couple of events this year. We've applied for Labman Fight Fest with it. So, you know, if that gets in, then we'll hopefully get to run it in full combat, which is definitely the plan. So let's take a little look at what Slingshot's been doing. So here it is as it stands right now. So the great thing about this machine is the base of it, so the driving base with all the drive and electronics is completely separate to the chassis. And if I lift this up, all the pneumatics mount underneath here. And can I just say at this point, look at the quality of the machining on the pneumatic system. Absolutely incredible. So you've got the buffer tank here. You've then got the ram with an integrated valve. So it's basically got the innards of a Burkitt valve in there, all integrated into the machined aluminium, which is just a brilliant way of doing it. 12-ounce paintball tank underneath. That's what supplies the gas that fires the weapon. And then the only way we connect this in is we just literally plug in the XT60 connector that goes onto the switcher. As you can see as well, there is a little bit of work needed to the chassis, so it got a bit chewed up by a vertical spinner. And if I show you from that angle as well, you can see there's a bit of bending in here. We're going to stick this in the hydraulic press to try and get it back to shape, and then grind some new edges on there to get it nice and sharp and low to the ground. But otherwise, I've had a bit of a test. You'll have seen a video on the YouTube channel a couple of weeks ago showing that it's all sort of mechanically and pneumatically sound. So really looking forward to getting that one sort of fixed up and ready to go. If we have a little look at the drive side of things. So actually this idea of having everything mounted to the base of the robot, I did steal a little bit and use that in Soundwave, but I went one step further and put all the pneumatics on the base. So this one's kind of like a mixture in between the two ideas. It's also my first little test of brushless drive. I've never really used it until now. So if I show you down there, we've got little Bainbots gearbox, Coulson wheel, and then it's a Rotor Star brushless motor, and it's a really, really lovely little setup there. The whole thing runs off a little 6-cell LiPo that's mounted under here, and it's a tiny little pack because the brushless drive draws so little power compared to the stuff I was previously using. So yeah, I can get away with a much smaller battery. A couple of jobs to do on this one then, apart from tidying up the chassis. You'll notice down here it still runs off of a switch, so this is when you turn on and off using an Allen key. That's not legal over here, so I've got to change that out for a removable link. And currently there isn't an LED fitted, so I'm going to have to try and get that on there as well. But other than that, it is a lovely machine, and the quality of it is just unlike anything I've built before. So really excited to see both halves back together, and we'll get that in the arena nice and soon. So there we have a little update from us. Lots of exciting stuff. So Tectonic's getting a bit of work, Slingshot is too. And we've got some upcoming projects with the new version of Aftershock, with the axe fitted, and also potentially a little Beetleweight project that's going to be just for this channel. So keep tuning in. Next week, we're going to be back with another update. So see you then.